Oh boy, yes, we all know how it went the first time around. What's it going to look like tonight? We are 12 days left to the race to the White House. All eyes will be on Donald Trump and Joe Biden. So what's in store? Todd Graham is the director of debate at Southern Illinois University and joins us this morning. Oh, Todd, buckle up. Okay, it's going to be a different format. So we now know about these mute buttons to allow Biden and Trump to talk for that 2-minute period, but it's still going to be a bit of a free-for-all following that. So how do you anticipate in general tonight to go?
Well, give me some help on math. Let's start with that. Is 11 greater than 4? Because there's 15 minutes for each topic, and they're only muting the mic for the first 4 minutes. Each candidate's 2 minutes apiece. So,
right. So
I think 11 minutes of open discussion is greater than 4 minutes of muted microphones. So
yes. So
there you go.
But here's the thing, though, Todd. While they're muted, they can still, there's still body language here, right? You can still do things like raising hands or making motions to get your point across. Do you foresee that happening?
Oh, yeah. If you've ever been like in a meeting where somebody's cell phone perhaps is like buzzing, it distracts them in the middle of their speech that they're talking about, right? And so imagine we can't hear you at home, but you still decide to interrupt the other person. So if Trump decides to interrupt Biden while he's speaking, it will still have the same effect of throwing him off because Trump will be yelling something over here and Biden will get thrown off. But all we'll hear is Biden with a bit of a slurred speech and he has to stop and start back over again. So I think in some ways, muting a microphone could actually make things worse, right? So the other person could yell out more, and even though you can't hear them, you think the speaker's no good. Plus, I don't think they thought of this. What happens if to Donald Trump, let's say, if you mute the microphone of Joe Biden for 2 minutes when Donald Trump is speaking? What do you think he's going to say, knowing Joe Biden can't defend himself or his family from anything that Donald Trump would say?
Well, I think we all know what's going to pan out there. But here's the thing. This moderator, I did feel for the moderator the first time around. This time around, what do they need to do?
Well, there's different optics this time with Kristen Welker. She's a woman of color. And when you interrupt women, it always looks worse for the audience at home than when you interrupt men. So interrupting Chris Wallace looked bad enough, but interrupting Kristen Welker will look even worse. So I really think that you have to try to get the candidates to not interrupt each other and not interrupt the moderator. But saying that is a lot easier than doing that because, again, they have 11 minutes of open discussion where they just sort of go back and forth. The other problem with the open discussion format is it doesn't put a heavy hand with the moderator. So whoever wants to talk the most will. Whoever wants to ask the other one questions will. And so it rewards basically very aggressive behavior in the debates and things that don't come across well. So if I was the moderator, the first thing I would do would be to pull them out backstage before the debate and explain why the last debate went so poorly and give them some tips for how to not interrupt one another, because there actually are tips you can give people that will stop your impulse from interrupting one another. And so that's what I would do. I'd give them a few of the speech tips that I know. And then I would remind Donald Trump that he came across poorly with independents last time because of all the interrupting. And he might not know that because his team might not have told him that. And if he knows that he came across so poorly, then perhaps he'll calm down a little bit.
Todd, let's talk a little bit about debates in general. Do they really make a difference in swaying the voter, do you think?
I think they do a couple of fold. They make a difference first off in the primaries. Believe it or not, I think the primaries are a bigger difference because when you've got 10 Democrats on stage, if the one that you really liked had a bad debate, you can still pick another Democrat, right? But in the general election debate, they're going to make a little bit less of a difference because if you're a strong Republican, then you'll probably stick with that. However, that being said, we still have somewhere from 4 to 6%, I think it is, of undecided voters. Plus, we did have the needles move a little bit after the last debate in favor of Biden. Now, it could be because of the debate. It could also be because Trump came down with COVID that week. And so we don't know what's causal because those were almost back-to-back days that that news came out. But what we do know is that independents, et cetera, didn't like Trump in that debate. So as bad as these debates are, they might end up making, this is ironically, they might end up making a bigger difference than the debates 4 years ago, even, or 8 years ago, because people really don't like what they're seeing and they're putting most of the blame on Donald Trump.
Do you think we're going to see a controlled, and I put an asterisk by that word controlled, it just obviously in comparison to the first one, show tonight?
No. I honestly don't. I don't. There are a bunch of reasons why I don't. But I think you need to practice everything. You need to practice muting the microphone. The Commission on Presidential Debates just is kind of winging it, even though they've had 4 years to come up with this. They on Monday decided to mute the microphone for the first 2 minutes. But without that practice, you don't know if that might actually make the candidates even more angry. So now they've got to really jump in there when they've got a chance. And so far, no one has learned how to talk to Donald Trump in a way that will get him calm and relaxed. Even in the town hall, he wasn't particularly good the other day. So I think there's a lot of reason to be wary of tonight's debate and to think that here's what I'm expecting: the worst and hoping for the best.
Okay, you know what? Then we'll just be on the same page there, Todd. We should be tweeting at the same time and get the coffee, get the pot on, because tomorrow is going to be an early morning. Appreciate your time, Todd Graham with Southern Illinois University. Thank you.
Thank you.